Believe it or not, some people come to me and try to get the K-tips and they're like, I have thinning edges, I have alopecia, I have dry scalp, I have no more than 2 inches of hair, it's colored, it's falling out, and I want to get K-tips. Well, ma'am, I won't be doing them. What's up, you guys? So today we're going to have a conversation about K-tips. This initially came from a client that I had earlier today. She's getting K-tips. Well, I already installed the K-tips in her head, and when I was installing the K-tips in her head, she was basically telling me that she was scouring through the internet trying to find different places to get more information about K-tips, and she couldn't really find any valuable information that gave her some real solid, true information on what K-tips are. So I was like, well, you know, one of the videos that I had made before was about K-tips, but I just never uploaded it. And I thought me making a video about K-tips kind of seemed redundant. I just wanted to make a video for my clients before they book with me, just as an information or a frequently asked questions type of thing where they could see more information on K-tips if they had any questions. But since she told me she scoured the internet and she can't find it, this video is for you. Shout out to you, Aja. And shout out to anybody else who's watching. That way we can get more information about K-tips. Okay, so before I begin, I should say this. The information that I have about K-tips is from my personal experience. I have been doing them now. I don't even know how long I've been doing K-tips. I think I've been doing K-tips for 3 years now. Before then, it was iTips. Before then, it was microlinks. And before then, it was the Matoe method type of microlinks. So I've had my experience when it comes to different types of extensions. I just started doing K-tips 3 years ago because it looked like a method that would allow the women who come to see me to get more versatility out of their hair. But if I'm being honest with you, I look at different parts of the internet to get inspiration. So I don't just follow people within my culture, within my, city. I look at it from a broad range. There's people that I follow on my pages that don't even live here. Like, they live overseas. Because I'm trying to figure out, like, how do you get your hair that silky? They use products over there that make the women's hair really shiny. I'm like, what's that? They're like, we don't even ship to America. So, I follow people from a wide range. And so what I will say is that when it comes to extensions, I feel like my demographic, which is Black women, I'm Black, as you can see, we are a little bit... I was about to say we're a little bit slower when it comes to the extension game, but I also want to say that although we may be slow at some things as far as like getting the newer types of extensions and trying it out, I think there's reasons for that. I think there's a lot of education that comes with that. We're a little bit more skeptical. Like, is that going to work with our hair? We have to like test it out before it starts to travel and make its way around America. But also on the flip side, I feel like obviously we do hair amazing, and there are things that we do that other people have not even caught up yet to. So I started to see things like sew-ins, or when you do the sew-in method, you do it just by the braid and you're sewing the weft on like that. I've started to see other people in other cultures starting to do that, or the closure method, or using a net. They're using different terms, but I'm like, yo, that's just getting sewn, So there's different things within hair that can move from culture to culture and hop over. I said all of that to say that when I started getting into K-tips and I-tips, and tape-ins, it was not something that we were doing regularly. Because I specifically remember with some of these, every time that they come out with a different type of method, I always think to myself, well, not always, but when tape-ins specifically, when I first started offering those, I remember thinking to myself, there's no way that I'm going to be able to convince a Black woman to put tape in her hair. Like, she's not going to do it. And I really wasn't interested in it. Like, that time I used to work in a salon, and so the lead stylist would be like, talking about tape-ins, and I was thinking like, it's not even on my radar. Like, I don't care, because I know I'm not going to be able to convince any Black clients to get it done, so I just don't care. I might do a white woman or Asian woman or Hispanic woman's hair, and they want to get the tape-ins, and cool, and I did those every blue moon, but it was not something that I was like dying to do or dying to put out there, because I just did not think it would catch on, and it caught on. And so then after that, I started saying, well, I'm never gonna try to assume before I start putting something out there that Black women are interested in it because I don't see them doing it. What's happening is that you have to start educating you educate yourself first. You get your trial and error, and you educate the clients throughout the process as well. And so you have to also be honest with your clients. Like, hey, this is a new thing I'm trying, and I am interested in it. I haven't had that much experience in it, but I would love to try it, and maybe I could try it on you for less. You know, they'll be willing to do stuff like that because at the end of the day, people just want to get their hair done, and they want it to look as realistic as possible, look like it's growing from their scalp. So whatever it is that you do, especially now with more information now, they'll be willing to try. I said all of that to say that when I finally started doing K-tips, this was after I had been studying and looking at different demographics and cultures for a while, and they've been doing this method for a while. And so now that we are here, I have been slow to start introducing this service to my clients, honestly, because again, it just wasn't on my radar. Like, I know that I have to go through a process of educating my clients before I'm offering it to them, as well as myself. So I just don't hop out of the gate and say, yes, this is something that I offer. There's another service that I'm looking at right now that some people are calling it like you basically use the UV light and you use the hair and you're kind of putting it on their head and it looks like it's growing out of their scalp. Yes, I am interested, but until I get educated on it and until I do a trial and error phase on myself and people that I know and go through that process, and I can ensure you that, yes, this product is safe. Yes, this is how you use it. Yes, this is what's going to happen to you after you put in your hair, then I won't offer it. I don't just offer things because they're like trendy or whatever. Because I've learned in the years that, like, for one, it might not be healthy, and for two, it might be a trend. And you don't want to not know what you're putting in someone's head and then you charging them a high amount and then they're putting in their head and then their hair's falling out or something's happening. Like, you're going to be held responsible. Like, I am licensed. Like, I just don't want the smoke outside of, state board and stuff like that. Like, I just don't want the smoke from my clients. I would rather them have a great experience and go out there and tell the world, like, wow, she did this to my hair. I loved it. And it's blah, 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 blah. Okay. So I said all of that to say, K-tips for me is something that I've been offering for a while. And so now that I do offer it, I do feel very comfortable offering it and servicing it on clients. I do feel very comfortable putting it in people's head, okay? So I'm going to go over this right now as if you were a client coming to me interested in K-tips, because how I do it is I have this questionnaire, or I have the service listed on my page as basically saying you can now book the service now. I used to have it to where you had to do a consultation first and we had to go order the hair. So there was like a lag time of like 2.5 weeks. And so I just keep hair on hand now so that if you want to do it today, we can absolutely do it today. However, or whenever I'm next available. However, if your hair doesn't meet a certain criteria, then you absolutely need to do a consultation. What the criteria is if it's not shoulder length, and if your hair has troubled issues like thinning, you have maybe some balding, or your hair is very not dense, and you just got problems. You just got different things going on with your hair. If you have something that makes you question whether or not you're able to get the service done today, then you absolutely need to book a consultation. So period. So I go through that process of asking you all of these questions so that I can kind of see what's going on with your hair and where you are, because sometimes people don't qualify to get the service done. And the reason that they don't qualify to get the service done is because if your hair is not healthy, this is not a service for you. This is not like a protective style. This is not something that's going to help you out. Now, you do have those cases where people's hair is absolutely unhealthy. I cannot talk today, but their hair is absolutely unhealthy and they still want to get the service done. And that's between you and the Lord. If you are adamant about it, if you're willing to sign some paperwork behind it, if you're willing to sign your name on a dotted line, and you're just absolutely adamant about getting the service done because you just really want to get it done and you're not going to listen to me and you just like, I don't care, let me throw my money down your throat. Well, then, I guess we could work something out. But there are some cases where it just doesn't work. It's just not going to work. And I've learned my lesson on that. And so what that looks like is trouble areas, really, really, really short hair, because there is nothing that is going to cover this up if your hair is really short. Honestly, my favorite clients to do K-tips on are women who have hair that shoulder length, because and their hair is not thinning. You can have thin hair that is basically less dense, meaning you don't have a lot of hair. Some people just have a lot of individual strands on their head. And then their hair might be thin. But I mean, like, if your hair is, you don't have a lot of strands, you got 6 strands on your head, you try to get K-tips, baby, this is not for you. It's not for you. There's gonna be nothing to cover it up, the small beads that we're gonna create with the keratin. Let me hop back. I didn't even tell you what K-tips stands for, because that was something that my client asked as well. Like, what is K-tips exactly? So it is keratin tips. That's what the K stands for in K-tips. Keratin is the adhesive. We heat it up, we put it onto your hair, and we wrap it around it, and now it's adhesed to your head, or I'm sorry, to your hair, very close to the scalp, not right on the scalp. It's not tight or anything like that. It actually feels really loose on your scalp, and it feels like your real hair. So it's very close to the scalp. It's just to give you some extra length, some extra density, volume, and stuff like that. So it is almost making your silk press better. So if you could just, you know, you got your silk press and your hair's not that long and you're like, oh my God, I just wish it could be all down my back. Well, girl, guess what? I got something for you. We can just add in some density. We can add in some length, some volume, things like that. That's what K-tips are for. But K-tips is absolutely not like a miracle solution type of extensions. It's not. If we're being honest, if we're talking about a miracle extension situation, I think you can't beat a good old sew-in. However, with K-tips, with tape-ins, with I-tips, they lay flatter on your head. I have tape-ins in right now. They lay flatter. And if you don't put a whole big old bunch of them in, then your hair will look a lot more natural. Like when I do my sew-ins, my head looks bigger. And so it looks like you have on extensions. But when you have on the tape-ins, she's got some ashy elbows. I just noticed. But when you have on the tape-ins and you have on the K-tips and things like that, it's going to lay flatter. So that's what it's doing for you. It's going to help it look more natural. So that's what they are. Another thing that she asked, let's say that I'm still talking to the client, right? So what I would do if you're my client and you came in and you were interested in getting K-tips, I would basically ask you, like, what's your goal? First of all, you got to go through the questionnaire, the consultation that I was talking about, where I'm asking you all of these questions before we get on the phone. And so I need you to send me a picture of your hair in its natural state, which people do not be doing. They be sending me pictures of their hair when they got a wig on, when they got extensions. And no, babe, I need to see your hair in its natural state. I need to know how long your hair, I need to know what I'm working with. I made that mistake recently and I was like, dang, I made that mistake again. Somebody got me. Which, you know, they're not trying to get me, but they got me because you're sending me a picture without your hair in its natural state. I don't know what I'm looking at. I'm looking at a wig. I'm looking at your real hair. But so you're going to send me all of that information, and then that way whenever we get on the phone and we have a consultation, we're having a real discussion. Like on there it asks, like, do you have a relaxer? Like if you told me you just got a relaxer last week, I'm be like, girl, you can get the K-tips done, sure, but see me in 3 weeks whenever you got some new growth. Because I think to put the keratin on relaxed hair is a choice. And it's a choice that I don't want to make, because we know relaxed hair is weak. And so to heat that up so hot like that, I just don't trust it. I think you could risk your hair getting broke off, and I don't want to be a part of that. So that's a hard no for me. But also color, like I can do color and do K-tips. That's not a problem. Like you're having your natural hair colored and putting the K-tips on there, because of all the protective measures and treatments that I use whenever we do color. I'm not concerned about that. Let's see what else is on the questionnaire. I can actually pull it up. Hold on. We don't gotta go off of memory. It is almost 1 o'clock at night, and I had so much stuff to do today, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get this video out. I'm not gonna be lazy. I'm gonna get it out. Okay, here we are. Consultations, all extensions consultations. Let's say we want to do it on Monday. Okay. Yep, color. Do you have any chemicals in your hair? How would you best describe your hair? Fine, medium, coarse. What's your hair texture? What's the condition of your hair? Is there any questions you would like to know during the consultation? The reason why I ask these questions is because it gives me a realistic idea of what it is that's going on with your hair. Believe it or not, some people come to me and try to get the K-tips, and they're like, I have thinning edges, I have alopecia, I have dry scalp, I have no more than 2 inches of hair, it's colored, it's falling out, and I want to get K-tips. Well, ma'am, I won't be doing them. I won't be doing them. And not with the integrity that I have. Even if you was shoving the money down my throat, I mean, you would have to almost, I don't know. You got to push me in a corner for me to say yes or something like that. Sign a waiver is what you would have to do if we're being honest. But I don't recommend K-tips for people who have troubled areas in their hair, because when you have K-tips, it's not like sew-ins to where it can cover things up. This is a service that is enhancing. Something has to cover it up. Like, if you want, the whole point of getting K-tips is you want the versatility. You want to be able to put your hair up. You want to be able to flow. You want it to like be your real hair. Well, just like a sew-in, like for sew-ins, right? Like when people tell me, oh my, I just remembered that I didn't call a client back. I just remembered that I didn't call a client back because she called me, and she's an older woman who came to me, but she was telling me her leave out was pretty much extremely poofy. It's been a whole heat wave, but your leave out is poofy, okay? So she calls me and talks to me. She's like, I need to do something. And I'm just thinking like, well, I don't know what you want to do. The only thing that we can do is put a closure on top. But yeah. Anyways, Lord Jesus, welcome to the life as a hairstylist. Oh my God. So, okay. So with sew-ins, you're going to want to leave the perimeter out so that people can do things so that it looks natural. Same concept with K-tips. We're going to leave some of your perimeter out. And hopefully, if you have enough hair, we can leave a lot out so that it looks natural. Basically, you're going to want to leave a good portion of your hair out so that it looks natural, which is why I don't recommend it for people who have short hair or troubled areas, because it's not going to hide anything. It's not that type of extension service. So if you don't have a lot of hair and we don't have much to be able to cover up the K-tips, babe, you're going to be very upset. It's not covering anything up. You're going to see them. So I don't recommend, I almost don't even want to do K-tips for people who have short hair in general anymore, like at all. Like, I understand that when we think about extensions, we think about something that is going to help accentuate maybe a problem area or help you become better with the short hair, but K-tips is just not that type of service. And so I'm really starting to contemplate whether or not I just want to do a hard no. Like, babe, if your hair, and really it's just the front section, because that's always people's problem area. Like, your hair be banging back here. You got hair all down here. In the front, it's right here. Like, girl, it's just not gonna work. So yeah. All right. So as far as like aftercare, right? So we've already done our install, which by the way, takes a long time. Yeah. Pack a lunch. You're going to be here. The install is going to take you, I mean, depending on who you are. I've been doing them for years, and I've gotten down to like 5 hours at the minimum. Today it took me 8 hours because I had to add on color and we do all this stuff, but it's a very long service, which is why it costs so much, which is why my price is going up here in a couple of days. Okay. So that's the install. It doesn't hurt. You shouldn't feel any pain. You really shouldn't even feel it tight. It doesn't feel like anything. It feels like your natural hair. Going from a sew-in to K-tips, you're going to be like, oh my God, I cannot believe how light. It doesn't feel like anything. So after the install and you're going home and it's been a couple days, then you can actually put some water to your hair is what I suggest. I don't suggest fully submerging your head into the pool or shampooing your head or anything like that for at least 3 days. I say no water, no shampoo, and what's the other one? No water, no shampoo, no oil for 3 days, okay? And you also want to be wary of products that have alcohol in it, but there are plenty of products with alcohol in it when it comes to hair, but you just want to be careful of that, because those are the things that can like break down the keratin in your hair, and then you're wondering why they're slipping out and stuff like that. Also be wary of that. Like, you may have a couple of fallout is what I call them, about 2 to 3, nothing major. Once it gets past 5, I'm like, something's wrong. Something somewhere went wrong. Maybe use a clarifying shampoo or something like that. You shouldn't really have more than 3, something that I can kind of just put in and do at your maintenance appointment. that's pretty much it. Like, I don't understand some of the things that my client was saying. Like, we were talking about blow drying and using heat products and whether or not you could do that. Like, it's going to be like your real hair. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, people get K-tips done and I don't see them for months because they feel like this is their real hair. It's not nothing that you have to be so timid about. The only thing that I would suggest is right there at the root. I would say just be careful of how you just have to be mindful whenever you're going through. Like, remember that this is not your real hair, and so you're not going to be able to comb from the root because you have K-tips at the root. You're still going to be able to blow dry, you're still going to be able to comb, you're still going to be able to flat iron, all of these things. You're not going to have any issues with that. And I still am confused about how people say that you're not able to use heat on keratin. Like, of course, when we heat up the keratin to put it on your head, it is well past 450 degrees. At least it should be. I think 450, I have to double check, but it's very hot whenever we melt the keratin onto the hair. So you're not gonna get that your hair to be that hot whenever you're flat ironing. Like, you're not gonna be staying right here, and you know, it's just, you're just not gonna be doing that. So that's your before, during, and after. Other than that, it's safe, it's good to go. I've done a lot of countless applications of K-tips. I've gotten better over the years. In the beginning, I didn't really understand the concept. Now I've gotten really more precise. I know how to install them fairly quickly, I feel. Depending on your hair's length and density, it's kind of a custom thing. So even though I offer my K-tips really low compared to other women, which is why I said they're going up, just because of the time that it takes to install, and how long you're going to be able to wear these K-tips. You can wear them for a very long time. Once it starts to get to about 3 months, 3.5, I start giving calls back like, girl, where are you at? We have to take this out your hair. And the reason why we have to take this out your hair is because since your hair is growing out, the K-tips are sliding down. Not sliding down off of the shaft. They're just coming down because your hair is growing out. And you don't want that to keep happening, because the more they grow out, the more you keep them on, the heavier they become. And then you start to risk popping one out and you got a bald spot now. That's how that happens. You're being too rough, or you're keeping them in too long, and you're not coming in for maintenance, and that's when it gets dangerous. But other than that, I haven't really had any issues with that. I used to have issues with the K-tips coming out and stuff in the closer to the beginning of when I used to offer them, but that was because I was applying them wrong. I didn't really understand the concept, but I don't have any issues when it comes to that. Everybody loves getting the K-tips, and when they get them, it's just like unbelievable because it feels like your real hair. And so the girl just texted me who got it done today. I had to educate her. I'm like, you know, you're used to getting weft microlinks that I used to do 8 years ago. I don't do those anymore because they're not that great. Can I do them? Yes. But they're just not that great. And I felt like it was thinning out women's hair when they were getting it done. So I don't offer it anymore. So I'm having to convince her that microlinks, to get K-tips from microlink. Like, girl, come on. We well past that. And so here she is. Can you see it? She was saying, also, I fear I'm a K-tip girl now for life. No other install for me will do it. There it is right there. That's my girl. So yeah, she loved it. And everybody who gets it loved it. There's one client that I got to call her back too. She's been getting I-tips and I'm trying to convert her to K-tips, but she's just a really hard client. So I don't think it's going to happen no time soon. But I'm trying to tell her that's where it's at. You don't have to worry about tips coming out or anything like that. Okay, you guys, I really hope that this was helpful. I'll probably make a better video on another day where it's a little bit more in chronological order and it makes a little bit more sense. I'm really tired. It's really late, but I promised myself that I would get these videos out. And so this was one of the videos that I said that I would be getting out. So I hope that it was helpful for you. Hopefully I'm not rambling. I'm probably delirious. Didn't eat that much today, and it's 1 o'clock at night. You guys have a great night, or whatever time it is that you're seeing this. Just know that you can always reach out to me on social media. I am Skyla the Stylist on all platforms. By the way, just got Eliminate tonight. The Eliminate app, just got that. So I'm on there now. And who knows what I'll be doing on there. So follow me to keep up, okay? Otherwise, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, and you can always go to SkylaTheStylist.com if you're looking for a hairstylist in Virginia Beach who cares about your hair, as well as any sweet that you would like to rent out as a beauty professional. Okay? Have a blessed one, not a stressed one.